I thought I'd do a quick video on the current state of my guitar collection. In the last 2 or 3 months I've reduced the number of guitars I'm holding quite significantly, upgraded it and just done a lot of real trades to bring in a few new guitars rather than pay them outright. But this guitar here is one of the acoustics that I've kept, cut away, the AJ 500 master build, all solid wood guitar. At one point I had 9 acoustics, now down to 3. So this was well worth keeping. It's an acoustic, electroacoustic, all solid wood guitar. These are really superbly made Chinese. Got the binding on the neck and the headstock. Lovely sounding guitar. I think these are probably the cheapest all solid guitars you can buy that I'm aware of. They retail for around about $5.50. I'm not sure if this model's still being made. I don't think it is. So yeah, that's the Epiphone. Just quickly go through the acoustics that I'm still holding. This is another discontinued guitar. It's actually a Sigma guitar based on the Martin. This is the DR1228. It's based on the Martin 1228. Mahogany. I've got this detuned. I think it's always a good idea. I've detuned it to D just to stop the guitar pulling itself apart, but it's a discontinued guitar. They discontinued it last year. Didn't make it that long, a couple of years I think. These retailed new for about $4.50 in the UK. Grover tuners on it. Lovely sound. So yeah, I wanted to hold on to a 12-string acoustic. It's not electroacoustic, this one. They do make an electroacoustic Sigma at the moment that's a 12-string. You can actually put it through an amp, but it's a cheaper model than that one was. This is the Jumbo. This is Sigma's take on the J200 Gibson. Really good guitar. They're still making them. It's not easy to find though. Not many people have actually got a copy. I don't think they'll make it for that long. It will probably end up another discontinued guitar in the not too distant future, but it's the best copy of a J200 that I've found that's relatively inexpensive. Of course, a Gibson version of this would cost you probably about $2,500. Really nice maple back. Flame maple back to it, and even though it's not an all solid guitar, it sounds very nice. So yeah, really nice guitar, really well put together, made in China, but I think it comes very close to Gibson. It's actually trying to copy. The SG series, of course, is Sigma's take on Gibson guitars. Well, mainly in the past, when they were a subsidiary of, or effectively part of Martin, they didn't make any Gibson copies, but now the AMI, the German company, who have leased the brand off Martin, are making some Gibson acoustic copies. This is my vintage pea green Les Paul copy. This is the unrelic version. They do a version of this that's relic. It's got different tuners. This is version 1, which I've also had quite significantly modded. So it's got Seymour Duncan instead of the Wilkinson pickups, and it's got push-pull pots. It's been upgraded with Gibson tuning knobs. This is one of the early ones with the inlaid vintage on the headstock. Vintage don't make guitars anymore with inlays. It's just a money saving option that they've gone for. They're all silk screens now, so you can tell the earlier vintage models they've all got more inlays, certainly on the headstock. This has got a particularly nice top finish to it. I did own a later model version of this, another really good guitar, but it didn't have as nice a top, so I actually traded that. Okay, the next guitar up is a guitar that I've really kept since I got seriously into guitar collecting, which is the vintage modified blonde Strat that's now been discontinued. It's been replaced by the Contemporary series. Rosewood board, bought this in 2013. Like the big headstock, it was got reminded me a lot of sort of a late 60s Hendrix Strat. So that's what really attracted me to it. It's got Duncan design pickups, so really good quality pickups. Nice looking guitar. For not a lot of money, I paid $230 for it back in 2013. They were on sale up until recently, before they got discontinued, for around about $300. So they'd risen in about 4 years by nearly 30%. So made in Indonesia, these guitars. Another couple of vintage guitars that I've kept. This one I got fairly recently. It's a discontinued guitar based on the Les Paul Special. Got the wraparound bridge, an earlier model, because this is actually mother of pearl inlay, or an inlay of some sort. I don't know if it's mother of pearl, but obviously it costs more money to have inlays put in any headstock, more time. So as I say, vintage have actually got rid of that. Their guitars are all silk screen vintage now, naming on the headstock. Unlike the Gibson Les Paul Special, it hasn't got any binding. It's more like the Junior in that respect. It's got Wilkinson P90 style pickups, poplar body, and I think maple neck. They stopped making these about 3 or 4 years ago. I bought this year for $250. When they were making these, they were about £200. So they've actually gone up in value because they've got a good reputation. It's a good guitar. Second hand now, it's costing more than it did new. Another vintage guitar, an early model that's discontinued. This is from the Icon series, the Mick Abrahams. It's based on the Gibson SG Special. Again, you can tell it's an earlier version because it's got an inlay instead of silk screen vintage. Rosewood board, bit of artificial aging. It's just where they've not dyed the wood, mahogany. It's got a set neck, one-piece neck, P90 style pickups, Trevor Wilkinson, but really nice guitar. Very excellent guitar, really, for what I paid for it, 280 quid new. You can pick these up for less than $250 if you can find one. They come up on Gumtree from time to time. Two-piece body, really good guitar. Next guitar is a Violin Bass. This is the starter Violin Bass from Hofner, the high series. These retail for about $250 in the UK. I bought some new strings for it, Hofner strings. So to get that flat wound Beatles sound, but very good fit and finish, Chinese made. Really nice guitar. It's amazing what you can get for not a lot of money these days. I wanted this kind of Beatles style guitar I suppose the other options really the Beatles used were Rickenbackers. They're rather expensive, so you know this is a really good inexpensive copy. Well, it's actually still licensed by Hofner, so it's a Chinese made licensed copy of guitars they're still making, which are, of course, if you get a German Hofner, they're about £1,500. The next guitar up is a guitar that I picked up recently, which is a US made Rickenbacker. I didn't actually, this guitar was on sale for about, I think it was about £2,000. I traded it for a number of acoustics that I was holding. I'm down to 11 guitars now, or 12 guitars, and I've always really wanted a Rickenbacker 12 string. This was in the shop. I had a conversation with the shop owner, came round when I traded guitars. I'd been in the shop for about a year, so I think it was started off at about 2,500 and it was down to about, I think it was about 2,000 that he had it on sale for when I offered to trade it, which he went along with. I think, you know, £2,000 would be a big hit in one go, so that's why I went for the trading option, and I wanted to get my guitars guitars that I was holding down, so it was a good option. Really nicely made guitar. Maybe not my ideal colour, but as I say, it had to be somewhere local really. I think that I was gonna try and get one of these from, so it's just what's available. Of course, Rickenbacker there's a big waiting list, so I like the shape. It's the George Harrison shape with the sharper horns. Of course, this isn't this is 330, not the 360, so it's not got the binding on the neck and around the body, which George Harrison's guitar had. And the last two guitars I've got are classic players, Mexican-made Fenders. Got the Telecaster, Baja, based on an early Fender Telecaster with a really thick neck, butterscotch. Fantastic guitars for the money. You know, this has got a 4-way selector switch and a SI switch, so you've got 7 variations of sound. Really good. If you don't want to buy an American guitar for 1,500 quid plus, these are half that, and I think there's not a lot in it personally. These are fantastic guitars for the money. I traded this for 3 Squier Classic Vibes that I was holding. And the final guitar is another classic player. It's the Sonic Blue Strat. I traded this for 3 Classic Vibes Strats that I was holding. Fantastic guitar, love the colour, really nice. American appointments, older body. I just wanted to upgrade and reduce the number of guitars I was holding, so the Classic Player series is really the series to go for, because they offer the best bang for buck really. As I say, half the price of an American made Fender and not a lot of difference, because they've got American appointments or American pickups. Really nice. The best Mexican guitars you can buy at the moment, I think, Mexican Fenders. You can tell by the Classic Player series. They've got the Fender neck plate with the custom shop designed. So there you go. That's my guitar holdings at the moment. Hope you like this video.